So we've just crossed the Saudi border on our way to Doha from Dubai. So welcome to the latest programme. This is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, of course, has got a name that West Bromwich Albion fans will remember from the 1970s when Ronnie Allen defected as manager of West Bromwich Albion to join the national side in Saudi Arabia. Now, one man who followed the events of December 1977 very closely was Bob Downing, who's now veteran reporter, then on the Express and Star. It was back in December 1977 the former Albion player and then current manager Ronnie Allen shocked the football world when he left West Brom to become manager of Saudi Arabia. Here are the thoughts of veteran reporter Bob Downing.
We knew about the friendly, and it was just going to be like a 2 or 3 days, I would think, whatever it was. And basically, we didn't think a lot about it. It was just going to be a friendly in Saudi Arabia, nice place to go, nice warm weather. And then it was when they came back. There was you started to get feelings, started little rumblings going on, and then we found out that Ronnie was going to Saudi with Jimmy Hill.
So you said we found out. So how did you find out?
I think he just came out. I can't really recall now how we found out. I think Ronnie might have said something about him going out across to Saudi. And we knew he'd gone. Because normally would have done a match preview for the coming week. So we'd have been in touch with Ronnie. When I say we, I mean me and Dave Harrison, because he was working for the Mail. We would have been in touch with Ronnie about team news and what have you. That's probably where he came out that he wasn't there and he'd gone to Saudi. We tried to get hold of where he might be in Saudi, but you try ringing the palace in Saudi Arabia, you've got no chance. And we worked out that I realised, ringing up and looking at planes, aircraft schedules, that he would have been coming back on the day he did come back. Only problem was that flight was landing at about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. So Dave and myself, as some of the journalists did at that time, we worked together, and we decided that we were going to go down and meet him. That was the only way we were going to get to find, what was going on. Because remember, this is the days of no mobile phones.
So you were going down to Heathrow Airport to pick up the flight for 5 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah. So we went down by train, because we thought, if we go down by car, Ronnie will be coming straight back and we ain't going to have a chance to have a chat with him. So we decided to go down by train, and we were going to come back by train. So we got to Heathrow Airport. It was about the early hours of the morning we got there. We were there a couple of hours, just looking at the timetables. I tried to get in touch with Saudi Air and asked them if Ronnie Allen was on board, but of course, even then they weren't telling people who was on board and who weren't. So all we had to do was wait for the plane to land, and then we went to arrivals. And a few people came out, and lo and behold, coming out together was Ronnie Allen and Jimmy Hill. And Ronnie's first words when he saw me and Dave was, "What are you two doing here?" And I said to Ronnie, "I think you know the answer to that, Ron, really." And he said, "Yes." He said, "I suppose you." I said, "Just to get things out of the way, are you staying at the Albion or are you going?" And he said, I'm going to Saudi. So I said, "Right." I said, "Have you got a few minutes?" And he said, "Yeah." And Jimmy Hill was there, and Jimmy Hill was, sort of having a chat as well, because at that time we wanted to have a word with Jimmy Hill because Alan Hardaker had come out that day and had criticised Jimmy Hill because they were going after English managers. Don Reeve had already gone to the desert. And I don't know whether Ronnie was first choice, second choice, third choice, I'm not sure, but they were tapping up English managers at the time. And Alan Hardacre was putting the squeeze on Jimmy Hill, saying, what you're doing to English football. And then Ronnie, he quite out of the blue, said, how are you getting back? And we said, we got back by train. And he said, I'll tell you what, he said, I've got my car down in the car park. He said, I'll give you a lift back. And me and Dave just looked at each other open mouthed and thought, this is manna from heaven, this is. So we went back to the car park, got in his car, got in his Jaguar. He drove, Dave was in the back, I was sitting in the front. And from the moment we left Heathrow Airport, he was talking. And we were talking about Saudi, we were talking about, all the situation, what it meant, everything you could think about. He did mention things about the Albion that he weren't very happy about. One of them, I think, was he kept saying that he hadn't been offered a contract. And I remember a game, and you'll have to forgive me if my memory is wrong on this now, but I'm sure it was Bill Shankly. Albion played Liverpool at Anfield, and I think they must have played particularly well. And Shankly came out and said it's a disgrace that Ronnie Allen has not been given a contract. He's still not working without a contract after what he's doing. Ronnie insisted that they offered him a contract, although Bert Miliship, who was the chairman of Albion, later said that they did offer him one. Whether that offer came after he phoned him and said, I'm leaving, I'm not sure. So Dave Harrison, who was working for the Mail, had to do something for the lunchtime edition, and the deadline was about 12 o'clock. So we actually stopped at a phone box in Oxford, so Dave could get his report through. And then he dropped me off. He dropped both of us off in Birmingham City Centre. Dave went to his office. I phoned up the Express and Star Sports desk, told them what I'd got, because that was the only way I could get in touch with them once we stopped. I told them what we'd got, and that was it. And I had to write the report in a cafe on New Street Station, and then get to one of the banker telephones and phone it through. Yeah. And then some of the lads, one of the lads in the office, I don't know who it was, could have been John D or Eddie Griffiths, got in touch with Bird just to get his reaction. But we knew what the reaction was. Mm-hmm. Ronnie did tell us it was, like £100,000 over 16 months. Now this is 77. We thought, 77. I've had a quick workout. That deal today would have been 735,000. So you can put into context why he couldn't turn it down. Mm-hmm. Albion offered him £20,000 a year for 3 years, and that would have made him one of the highest paid managers in the First Division.
Wow. Just shows how much money the Saudis have got.
Yeah. Now Ronnie did say that he was prepared to wait until January the 1st. That's when he was going to join the Saudis, but Albion decided almost straight away that wasn't going to work out, and it couldn't really. You couldn't have had somebody going sort of saying, "Well, I'm going in 3 weeks, but this is what you've got to do." Yeah, and that's when John Wall took over as a player manager. Although Bird did say they hadn't envisaged having another player manager after Johnny Jones. But, circumstances as it was. And that's when it went on. And then they started obviously looking for a manager, and that's when Big Ron came. But it was an amazing couple of days for me and Dave. Yeah. Because all the nationals were after it. Yeah. And we got it straight from the horse's mouth as he got off the plane.
So of course you got the headlines for the Express and Star, which obviously they splashed with it. Yeah. So it must have been a tremendous feeling in the office.
It was.
With the staff.
Yeah. The only other time I had that same sort of feeling in the office was when Don Howe got sacked, and that was it. But those two moments for me is two moments I'll always remember from my journalistic career.